Your brother made senior counsel while you tinkered with software, Dad said. That buzzed. Why is your company valued at $7 billion in Forbes? The room went silent. You're comparing his little app to Daniel making senior counsel at 32. Seriously? Mom snapped, voice sharp like glass. It's not a little app, Mom. You saw the Forbes cover. And you think money erases the years you spent doing what exactly? Playing with code in that basement. I built something from scratch. While Daniel was building this family's name, your father had to pretend he even understood what the hell you did for a living. Pretend. He told me he was proud. He lied. He just didn't want another argument, not after what you did. What I did? That's when Dad dropped his bourbon glass just slightly too hard on the oak table. Don't play dumb, Noah. You disappeared after college. No law school, no firm, just code and roommates. Meanwhile, your brother was sleeping with my ex while signing my name on a mortgage I never agreed to. The silence slapped the room. I'm Noah. I built $1 billion company and they still look through me. Usain Noah Gray. 26. I write code. Not in basements anymore, but in boardrooms, across continents, at midnight when my CTO sleeps. The company, Krypton, started with a single line of code during a panic attack in my college dorm. It now supports 140 million users, powers banks, hospitals, and disaster alerts in 4 continents. But none of that mattered at this table. I was still the fuck-up, the silent one, the brother who wore hoodies to funerals. And now I was finally speaking. The family. Daniel, 32. Senior counsel at M&T Law, golden boy, used my name to co-sign a house with my ex. Never apologized. Mom, 58. Ex-social worker turned perfectionist homemaker. Thinks software is for nerds, not men. Dad, 61. Retired judge, worships Daniel. Never understood me, never tried. I found the documents, Daniel. You forged my signature. You bought that house with her name on it. You weren't using your credit, and I paid the mortgage. You wouldn't even notice. You stole my name. You slept with Rachel while she was still calling me baby in our group chat. Enough. Dad roared. No, not enough. I want to hear him admit it. Daniel leaned back, arms folded, like he still owned the room. Fine, I did it. Because you didn't deserve her, Noah, and you sure as hell weren't going to use that name for anything good. I blinked, and something inside me stopped cracking. It hardened. You don't get to decide what I deserve. I made partner last year. You think some app with anonymous alerts makes you the hero? You don't deal with real people. You just hide behind screens. You know what those screens do, Daniel. They stopped 2 suicides last week. A child trafficking ring in Atlanta was shut down because of my alert algorithm. But please, tell me again how your courtroom drama saves lives. You're still a coward. Freshman year. October, I remember the bathtub tiles, cold against my back, water running, not for the bath, just to drown the sound of my sobs. Rachel had just posted a picture, her and Daniel kissing outside a firm gala. I had $42 in my bank account, a failed calculus midterm on my desk, and a notification. Scholarship terminated. I didn't scream, I didn't call. I curled up in the tub, fully clothed, hoodie soaked, and I remember Mum's voice outside the door, not worried, clinical. Let him fall. Maybe he'll learn something. And so I did. I fell. Hard. Into code, into algorithms, into 3-day ramen binges and debugging marathons, into moments where I forgot to eat, forgot to feel, but somehow remembered to build. Krypton didn't come from genius. It came from being discarded. And they never asked how I got back up, only what my valuation was. You know the $7 billion valuation, Dad? The room quieted like a held breath. You know why it happened last quarter? Daniel looked up, still smirking, the way he always did when he thought he was 3 moves ahead. Because the DOJ used my platform. I said it like fact, because it was. We helped track embezzlement through layered shell firms. I pulled up a file on my phone, slid it across the table. Daniel paled before he touched it. M&T was one of the firms involved. The drive came from a whistleblower. His voice dropped, almost human. No one said anything to me, yet. What is this, blackmail? I shook my head. Accountability. Mom whispered, tell me this is a mistake. But it wasn't. It never was. I looked at Daniel square in the eye. You slept with the woman I loved, used my name, mocked my work, and now your firm is rotting from the inside. You think I planned this? I tapped my chest. I didn't dig your grave. You typed it out yourself. You set me up. Daniel snapped, voice brittle. I didn't have to, I said. You wrote your own emails, Danny. Dad stood towering over the table, his face red, not just with anger, with fear. Noah, you are out of this family. His voice cracked on out. For a second I felt 10 years old again, small, eager, shamed. Then I felt nothing. Finally, I stood, slipped on my jacket, straightened it like armor. Mom blinked rapidly, like she was trying to wake up from a dream. I gave her one look. She didn't return it. As I walked toward the door, Daniel called out, You still think you're better than me? I paused, turned halfway. No, I just stopped trying to be worse. And I left. 2 weeks later, voicemail from Mom, the kind you listen to twice, once for the words, once for the tremble in them. Your brother's been suspended. There's an internal audit. Your father hasn't left the porch in 3 days. He just sits there, staring at the bird feeder. I didn't call back, but I found the photo, that robotics fair when I was 9. My first trophy. Mom beaming beside me, still young, still proud. I scanned it, sent it to her with one line. I remember who I was, even when you didn't. She didn't reply, but 2 days later, I got a package. Inside, that same trophy, polished, with a sticky note on top. I forgot. I'm sorry. 6 months later, Seattle wakes like a slow piano, foggy, golden, hesitant. My condo's all glass and air and plants I keep alive out of spite. Krypton has 200 employees now. We built a crisis fund for whistleblowers, named it after Rachel's mom. Amelia Foundation. She used to bring me tea when I stayed late at Rachel's. We're in talks to open a secure platform for domestic abuse victims to store evidence. Encrypted. Untraceable. Daniel sent a message last week. You were right. About everything. I don't expect forgiveness, but I'm trying. I haven't responded. But I didn't delete it. Mom writes twice a month. Her last email had a Python screenshot. Said she wrote a script that converts Celsius to Fahrenheit. I don't buy it, but I smiled anyway. Dad hasn't reached out. I think that's for the best. Some wounds close best in silence. If you've ever felt overlooked, betrayed, or dismissed by the very people meant to love you, this story is for you. Sometimes the deepest revenge isn't rage, it's success. It's becoming whole without their applause. It's choosing peace when pain begged for fire. Drop a comment below. What would you have done in Noah's place? Would you confront them, walk away, forgive? Let's talk. Let's heal. If this hit you deep, like, comment, and subscribe. There's more where this came from. Stay strong, stay seen. Noah's voice, signing off.